We are rolling the video. Nick Westergaard here with Chris Brogan, keynoting at this fall's Social Brand Forum here in lovely, scenic, picturesque Iowa to chat a bit about Chris coming to Iowa and also The Freaks Shall Inherit the Earth, which is such an exciting book. We started babbling about it before I hit the little red button, and Chris wisely said, just go. So we are just going.
Nick, you are one of my favorite humans alive for many reasons, one of which is that you are fully willing to just dive into the same breach. So I'm very excited.
No, absolutely. Well, again, I talked about, I just got back. Anybody that follows me around social media knows that I was on vacation and was pretty unplugged, but loved taking old school paper books, and it's one of the few things that I still don't do digitally. I just like having, look at screens so much. I love holding books, and the one I was holding this past week was Chris's latest book, which I'm excited to put in the hands of 300 lucky attendees at the Social Brand Forum this fall. But it is such an engaging conversation. I mean, from the title alone, you probably are pretty good at the elevator pitch at this point, Chris.
You know, I wasn't a little while ago, but I've really had some practice. I've really shaved this right down. Freaks are people who have sort of a tattoo level obsession with the business that they're passionate about doing, with the kinds of people that they love doing business with in their method. It's really interesting who's come forward to say they're freaks. Mitch Jackson is the #1 California trial attorney. He's like, I'm totally a freak. He just wore one of my owner T-shirts. He said, I think I'm going to wear this to court today. And of course he won't, because that's why he's the #1 trial attorney. The other guys who are saying it are guys like Rod Burkett and his friend Mel Abraham, who are, God, I hope it's Mel Abraham, who are CPAs, and they help accountant stuff, and they're freaks. This dentist guy wrote me and said, I am such a freak. And I was like, I was expecting face and nose pierced and, facial tattoos. I thought that would be who would catch it first. But they're reading stories about people like Tony Hawk and Mark Echo and Kate White and all that sort of a thing. They are the people I wrote about in the book, but the people who are identifying are the people who go, man, I do see it differently. I do want to do business on my own terms, and I get what you're saying here. And it's really gratifying, Nick, because I just thought I might have just written this book for myself and my 2 kids by mistake.
Well, I mean, I think that's one of the biggest, here I am evaluating the success of it, but one of my favorite parts and one of the things that I think makes it successful and what excites me about it is, I think it's funny because the concept of freak, I think there's a danger that some people could homogenize it, and that they could think, oh, that it is just like you said, the purple hair and the piercings. But I think the potential of it, and I think probably why this is a book that needs to be, is because there are freaks in cubicles. I mean, I kept dog-earing the sections where you talked about I want to get the term, employeepreneurs and CEOs of their own cubicles, because I think that's what so many of us are. That there's some people that just want to think that it's only kind of that neat startup character with that looks a certain way. That it's interesting because even that sometimes we've made we try to cookie cutter what that looks like, and that's the beauty of it, is that it doesn't look a certain way.
Right. I mean, I was one of those CEOs of the cubicle, and I totally and utterly, lived that life where it was my company, at least on those 6x8 edges, and I worked with everybody internally as my customers. I stole all of that. So the phrase employeepreneur is James Altucher from Choose Yourself. The CEO of your cubicle is Tom Peters from like 2000, the brand called You. Steal it all. Really, because no one noticed. And then I gently give them name checking credit, and everyone still thinks it's my idea. So what it was, the best ideas are the ones that are stolen anyway. They're the ones that, I mean, if I'm lucky, people will steal ideas out of this book, and people do. I mean, people stole junk from all my other books and made it their own. And when I'm not mad at them, I think it's really awesome because, to me, it's this great opportunity to have the idea virus that Godin talked about many, many years ago. And I think that, and he wrote a book called We Are All Weird, and it's basically, I forgot all about it when I wrote this book. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to bother writing it. But we have a different take because I've worked in corporate America a little longer than Seth, and I had sort of a little bit of a grindier opinion with it, whereas Seth has been kind of on his own for a while now. And so he's relating to stories and case studies, and I just sort of had a little bit more, I could still feel the teeth marks. And so, that's, I guess, how I'll delineate the difference. But that said, especially, to your event with social brand and all that, this is the real opportunity. This is not a small company story. I mean, Reebok is making these kinds of things for Spartan racers, and they're cuddling up to CrossFitters and Spartan racers specifically and saying, we want to make the shoe you wear. We want to help you do better at your sport. And that's really different than Nike that says, sure, we have golf shoes. We have whatever shoe you want. We make millions of shoes. You should buy some.
Well,
and that's it.
It's such an interesting time. I mean, even with the Reebok example too, with big entities, small freaks kind of combining and slamming into each other, I think in really exciting ways that there's previously not been the potential for.
Yeah, well, I tried so hard not to make this a book about tools because that's the worst, and people, continue to think I'm like the Twitter guy or something, and it just drives me miserable. But Mr. Twitter, the mayor. But what I do feel is that these tools empower us. I mean, the fact that kids are asking their parents for Square to stick on their iPhone or whatever, and that kind of a deal, I think it's magical. My daughter bought stuff from other kids at Anime Boston, swiping my card, and they were merchants. You know what I mean? There was nothing about them that was fake. This is not 50 cents a lemonade or whatever. So it's kind of a deal. So I just think that I think it's a situation where we all have the opportunity to really work with who we want to work, and we worry that we're supposed to work with everybody, and that's where we get it wrong. We get it wrong because we genericize and commoditize, and no one wants that anymore. We want to feel like, I know it's Nick Westergaard walking in the door, not nice guy with glasses who just had a kid. You know what I mean? It's got to be, way more personalized and all that.
Well, I think the point that you've touched on a couple of times, and I believe even the book being dedicated to your kids. I mean, as I get it from a business standpoint, but I think the other angle that I really enjoyed throughout the book was as a parent. And it's so quiet in my home office right now because my two older boys are out filming Doctor Who fan fiction for their YouTube channel.
Love it.
It's such an exciting time, and not only for us, but for who's coming next and how we can, like you said, the potential of these tools for that group as well.
Absolutely. And I think that, not all of this, I mean, I wrote a book about business. James Altucher called it entrepreneurship from the ground up. He says it's a really good way to teach and understand entrepreneurship. And I'm really grateful because I set out to be helpful, but, for him to bless it that way made me really feel jazzed. But what I really also am thinking is for your boys to figure out that someday they don't have to take that detour to work for the man. You are going to be able to put YouTube sensation on your tax return if you don't already. I mean, I know so many people that are seven-figure earners on YouTube, and it's not everybody, and it's hustle like anything is, but it's not doable.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the book is gaining great acclaim. I believe I saw you're on the bestsellers on CEO Read from May.
Totally randomly, no idea how that really just happened. I'm so excited that it happened, though. I did not hit the New York Times or anything yet. You never know, but I would say that I'm so excited that this really happened.
Well, awesome. Well, again, folks, where's the best place for people to find the book outside of attending the Social Brand Forum, where every attendee has a copy in their hands? To me, that sounds the easiest. But beyond that, where's the best place?
This totally and utterly has everything to do with going to the social event, Social Brand Summit. Do I have it right? SBS? Forum. I knew I'd blow it.
It's the F-word, forum.
Go to callingallfreaks.com. Calling All Freaks, which I stole from a Crystal Method song because I'm, a thief. So.
Awesome. And the hashtag Proud Freak is
Proud
where
Freak,
you can
yes,
find. Yes, that's where your attorney friend with the shirt on. I was just looking at that before our call. And speaking of Proud Freaks, because Chris talked about this being a great fit for those that might be thinking about attending the Social Brand Forum, definitely talking about the different skills building up and certainly marketing being a part of that. If you are on the fence on attending the Social Brand Forum and are, you think, a proud freak, tell us your story in the comments here on this post, and we will select two proud freaks to win a scholarship to attend the Social Brand Forum free of charge. Yay, confetti.
Woo!
It could be you. You could be that lucky freak. But leave a comment here, and we'll take a look at those and announce the winners, and we'll use that hashtag ProudFreak and SocialBrand14. But yeah, otherwise, is there anything else that people should know about the book, about what's on your mind of late?
Social Brand Forum. That's what's on my mind. I've been thinking, let's just go there and talk about brands. No, it's really funny. I'm just writing something for a big corporation right now about how warm data is so important. And this is freak stuff. Like, warm data is the difference between knowing that 59.47% of people will ask for a warm checkout. That's big data. And versus knowing Chris Brogan just checked in and he likes 10 power strips in his room. And by the way, his son's birthday's in a couple weeks. And to me, that's the difference. So that's what I think people should know, is that the whole idea of freaks is how to make a human-minded business happen. So that's really important.
Well, the bar's been raised on all of that. Like you said, just the cold check-in, that's the minimum. That's the lowest common denominator. Really, cutting above is like you said, knowing a birthday, knowing a bit more. I was following the email thread down on this, finding the information for what time we were connecting, and you said, because we must have connected on where I'd posted something about my anniversary, and you said Mr. Anniversary. So, not just talking the talk, walking the walk, Mr. Chris Brogan.
None of this works, brother, if I'm just faking it. You know what I mean? None of this is useful. And I would say that, if we can't look into everything that's going on at a glance, if I can't know that you're having trouble with GoDaddy still, then how what good am I?
It's good to have important information like that.
It's vital.
Chris Brogan, author of Freaks Shall Inherit the Earth, keynoting this fall's Social Brand Forum in Iowa. Socialbrandforum.com, callingallfreaks.com.
Yes, sir.
And we hope to see you soon. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Nick.